say that we spent money on advertising, and they made a mistake and charged us twice. So we're getting a refund. So if I say we were at advertising, again, they were a vendor to us because we bought something. And now we're going to go here and we're going to click on advertising. We're going to say double counted payment. Okay, received it in cash. It is for general, so here's where we're going to add our general class. Right? Click add. And the amount was for $50. So save and or save and close either way. So that is how we go back and to do that as a refund. Just to put that clear. Okay, so the next thing we are going to learn is how to add credit card transactions. They are very similar to banking transactions, just a little in your credit card. So if we go to banking, enter credit card charges. Then we're going to put in, we'll fill it out. Let's say we went and we did the advertising code. We can put a reference number if it's on your transaction, but you don't have to. Put in the amount. That is going to be the biggest thing. We want to put in everything else we can. Let's say they charged $100. In the memo, we're going to say this is January newspaper app. Okay? And then we are going to say, well, what account is it? It's not specific to a property, but we're advertising. And then once again, you can copy and paste this, put it in your memo, and then you can say for business or something like that.
So now when you put that advertising and promotion, that advertising and promotion is actually coming from the chart of accounts. So what we're really doing is we're saying we're paying the advertising company, and that's who we're paying, but what we're actually spending the money on is classified as an advertising expense, so that at the end of the year or end of the quarter or whenever we're viewing where we're spending our money, we can see that we spent X number of dollars on advertising, we spent X number of dollars on automobile expenses, just like a real business, because we are a real business. So let's say that we want to spend more money on advertising next quarter than we are this quarter. We can see where we're at as far as all of those. Now, what also is really cool about QuickBooks, which we'll get into at a later time, is not only will it save and keep track of where you're spending your money as far as the accounts, but it'll also keep track of who you're spending your money with as far as your vendors. So you could say, I'm spending so much money with the advertising company and on newspaper ads that maybe I should direct some more money into the Craigslist or Facebook or Google advertising or online advertising. You'll be able to keep track of that. So QuickBooks is so much more than just a giant checkbook. It actually allows you to keep track of where all that money is going, and then that information isn't just for your accountant at the end of the year, it's so that you can make decisions about where your business is going.
Budget. We can forecast. So yes, it helps you as far as a business owner to make financial decisions to help you out, so that you can see if you're on track. You can see if you're being where you want to go and how to grow. Because a lot of people, I see this all the time, will say, I want to double my sales. Well, that's easy to say you want to double your sales in like a year, but how are you going to do that? This is how you can do it. We're going to budget. We're going to forecast. And by entering your transactions and getting everything up to date with your book, and we can take your financial statements and use it and make it so we can see how you're going to do it. So getting these little basics is going to help you out.
Absolutely.
Now, it does ask about customer job. Just so you know, I wouldn't recommend putting anything under customer job, because then it's going to ask if it's fillable, and then it can make some funny things going on in your QuickBooks. Don't recommend that right now. So just leave those two things blank. And then put what class? Well, this was not specific for property. We're just advertising for a business, so we're going to call it general. Even close. So the transactions for a business or for a credit card, one thing I will show you is if you go to banking, enter transactions. If, for example, have a refund like you did, all you're going to do is this box versus having the purchase and charge.
Now this is huge right here because obviously we're going to be, as the business grows, we're going to have more and more credit card charges and refunds and things like that. And what happens a lot of times is we think we're keeping track of everything, but at the end of the month, we're going to come back and there will be little things on the statement that we might have missed or whatever. Getting the difference between a purchase and a refund is really huge, and remembering to make those separate changes. And in addition, when we pay something or we pay the credit card on maybe a direct payment from our bank account, like a lot of people do right now these days, that will be recorded in here as well as a refund or a credit. So it's a really easy way to keep track of your credit card balances, which, trust me, I know can grow out of control pretty easily if you're not monitoring it very, very closely.
And you want, like I said, make sure you just check the right box. That's one thing that gets messed up in QuickBooks really easily, is if you put deposits and they should have been checks or vice versa. And with credit card, if there was a refund and you put it as a purchase, we just need to make sure that you get those specific things in the right box. Just going through and make sure you're detailing that. That will help you out and making sure that you don't have to backtrack. Okay, so those are our credit cards. The next thing is, every month, you should be doing this, is reconciling your bank account and your credit card statement. Every month.
Now,
first of the month they come.
Now, are you really seriously saying that if I'm starting my business, let's say 6 months into the year, and I've got 6 past months of credit card statements, you're saying I really have to go back and reconcile each month for the last 6 months?
Yes. Here's why. A lot of times, this is something you do as in counting the whole. When you see your statements, you need to be monitoring them. The reason why is you'll see extra charges sometimes that maybe weren't there, or they were wrong, or that someone's got your credit card even. You need to make sure you are monitoring all of these transactions, because if you're not, then you're going to have issues with them, and then you're going to run into business fraud and transactions, and it's a whole big mess. I've seen this happen, and trust me, it's a lot easier to just go back, reconcile them, make sure everything ties out, and go forward. Because if something did happen and you just like, oh, well, I didn't do that 6 months, it's okay, and something happened in those 6 months, then you're going to have issues. And another way is this tracks your transactions again, so you can see how you're doing in your business. So we're going to go to Stinky, and we're going to go, I'm going to exit out of this real quick. So if I go to banking and I click on reconcile, and then we're going to have a pop-up come up, and we're going to reconcile our bank account. And if you were doing a credit card, you can click down here and click on your credit card. There's all your accounts. And then you're going to do your statement date. I'm just going to say it's 12/31/2013. Well, actually, no, I got to do my transactions were in 2014. So I'm going to say it's 01/14. And you can add these dates in. You type in, you click on this, multiple ways to do that. My statement balance is 29,800. And that's what you just read that off your bank statement, whatever that ending balance is. Now, a couple ways is if you have service charges, you can add them in right here, or you can add them in interest, or if you have interest income, you can add that in here as well, or you can do it how we showed you before. Either way works. You just put the amount in, put the date in, or the count, and the class, of course, and that's how you can do those for those. So you can add them here, or you can do it the other way. Either way. Okay, so now I got my transactions up here, and my deposit. Let's see, I'm going to go to thinking. list of them. Your deposits and credits are on the right side, checks and payments on the left. Now, I'm going to click next to each of them, so as I go check off each one of them that are on there. If you click right here on the left side, it puts a check mark, so it's saying it was on my bank statement, I'm good to go. I click on both of those, and the biggest thing is when you see your difference box, you want it to be 0. If it's not 0, that means you're missing a transaction in your QuickBooks file. So you need to go and add it.
Are you saying that really it's, even if it's just a few dollars off, that's still a big deal?
It is a big deal because QuickBooks will add an account called reconciliation discrepancy. That account is a chore. Like, don't even want to hear that account. Get it straightened out. You got a few dollars missing, figure it out. Even pennies can add it, and I know pennies would mean nothing. And $1 less, then we can maybe find something. But if you got more than $1, you need to go find it because it's in somewhere in one of them. And here's where it shows you. You can look on your bank statement, and it'll show you how much money you should have in debit or deposits, how much you should have in check. So it's going to show you, and this adds up. It'll sum total everything here on each one of them, and that's where you get those amounts. So if you know, you can look at your deposits and say, oh, my deposits aren't matching my bank statement. That's why. Or, oh, my checks aren't matching my bank statement. And you know what side you need to look at.
And this is really important as we treat our business as a real business. A lot of times it's, we say, well, it's just a few dollars or $100. What's it going to matter? It really matters as you go forward because QuickBooks will keep you accountable for every dollar that goes in and every dollar that goes out. And this really means the difference between success and failure. And I've seen so many businesses get started by people that think that maybe little things don't matter. But this is the real heartbeat of your business here. And I've started people on fix and flips and literally had people tell me that they've never reconciled their personal checkbook or maybe never even reconciled their business checkbook. And this is something that I would say a lot of people that are beginners or maybe amateurs don't do, but professionals do this stuff. And whether you have yourself do it or whether you have your bookkeeper do it or your accountant do it, it's got to be done on a monthly basis. And this will save you from putting a lot of time and effort and energy into your business and then wondering why you're not getting what you wanted from your business out of it. So this is so important to do this every single month.
Every month. And as soon as you get it, just do it. And I know it may seem timely, but it's a lot worse to have to go back and do it months later than it is to do it just right then. Trust me. I have been on both sides of that.
And if you don't do it with one property, you won't do it with 100. And I promise you, if you don't do it with 100, you won't be in business very long.
No, you will see crashing going on, and you don't want that. You want to be on top of your business. You want to be in control. So once you get your difference down to 0, we're going to click on Reconcile Now. And we've reconciled it. It doesn't pop up because that's part of the online access. We don't need to worry about that. Okay? So we've reconciled. Everything's pretty. We've got all of our accounts reconciled so we can exit out of this. And we have a pop-up box here. Now it's going to say here, it has reports for you. And it says, oh, here's our report. These reports should show all of your transactions, all your deposits. A lot of times, and this is something I do, I print this report summary, and I put it with my bank statement, I staple it together, and I put it in my secured box with all of my bank statements. So this is something to know that I reconciled in QuickBooks, and I reconciled it in my bank statements, and they're together. So just kind of a heads up, this is just a nice summary report that you can put with your bank statement, and you can just easily print it off right here. Okay?
So Erin, as far as record keeping, you recommend printing off the bank statements even if someone is getting paperless statements?
Yes. Reason why, even though most things you can download, you can put them onto a jump drive, whatever, things crash. I've seen computers crash and they have no access to their bank statements because they can't get them from their bank anymore. and they are stuck. Definitely print them off and have them as a hard copy and put them into like a filing cabinet, put them somewhere that is secure and that you're supposed to keep them for 7 years. So have those things on hand.
Think files, not piles. This doesn't mean you put them in a pile on your desk. And I'm working on this just like everybody else. But this is something that's really, really important at the beginning of the year, starting off with a fresh 2000 whatever year of your bank statements and just keeping a file of all these in there. And it's very easy if you're doing it as a business, if you're doing it on a monthly basis and just keeping track of it.
Precisely. That is the biggest thing. And trust me, you'll be happy. When you do this, you will find things faster than you can even believe because you understand your business, and you think this is hard work, but you're going to find joy in this. You're going to be excited about your business because you're going to see what's going on and have an understanding. So these are exciting things, even though it seems like a lot of tedious things you have to do. They're great because here's where we're going to see the success. We're going to show you the report. So these are the 2 main reports that I recommend you look at. One is called the profit and loss statement or income statement, and that shows you all of your income and all of your expenses in your business. This is how we're going to see how you're doing. The next is your balance sheet. Your balance sheet shows you all of your assets, your liabilities. So assets are your bank account, our inventory. If you have a computer, things like that. Our liabilities are going to be such as loans or notes payables, credit cards. Those are our liabilities, and equity. Equity is our money that we put into the company.
Hey, Erin.
So these reports are important.
Erin, somehow it's still on the reconciliation summary.
Oh, okay. I haven't pulled them up, so here's how we're going to do it. We go to reports, company and financial, and we want to click, we're going to do the first is profit and loss standard. So here's my profit and loss. My net income for this month was $29,950. I'm doing well, so I'm just getting started. And you can adjust your dates here. Now, here's our thing. Remember how we talked about class tracking? This is where it comes into play. If we click on our columns account here on this drop box and click by class, this shows me how this property is doing. If I had multiple properties, it would show me every single property. And my general, so here's all my general expenses for the business. So I can see how I'm doing. So if I have a property that I lost money on, I'm going to see it. And I'm going to say, okay, we don't want to do that again. What did I do wrong? So you can learn from these numbers. Are going to teach you lots of things and help you with your business. So it's exciting. It's exciting to see how you're doing and how you're growing. There's so many different reports and things we can do inside of this. So, like I said, just get your basics down. Understand how to do it. The next report is our reports. We're going to do our balance sheet. Company financial, I'm going to do our balance sheet standard. Again, you can change your dates here. And here is my checking account balance because it's all reconciled. And here is my capitalized cost per property. So if I had multiple properties, it's going to have each line and an amount per line. So I'm going to be able to keep track of that. My credit card balance, I have that all up to date, which that needs to be reconciled. And my equity. Those are the biggest things. Now, like I said, you can do class tracking in the balance sheet. Let me show you this. This only works from Quickbooks versions 2012 and up. I'm not sure if the Mac does this. I haven't seen the new ones yet on that. QuickBooks Online does this as well. So you go to company and financial here, and balance sheet by class, and then finish both up. Now I can see how each class is doing per property and where all my transactions are, how they are with the bank account, where the money's going. You can keep track of it on that standpoint as well.
So what you're saying is if I've got multiple properties going, I don't have to be guessing or pulling out spreadsheets or thinking how am I doing on that particular property. I can know exactly how I'm doing on every particular property at any time.
Exactly, and even more, it can show you how much money in your bank account and how much money in your credit card you spent on that property. So we're saying right here, $29,000 here came in for that property because that was the sale of my property. And if I had transactions in my credit card, that's how much money on my credit card I spent on
this
monitor your property.
And this was not available when we started, when you and I started in real estate.
No.
This kind of information was not available, and it's so awesome to be able to see all of that in very, very simple detail, and have it at the tip of your fingers at all times.
And like I said, this information may seem overwhelming, or it may seem like, why do I need this? You're going to see, when you get going on your business, I promise you, you're going to be looking at these financial statements all the time, because you want to see how you're doing. You want to see what's going on in your business, and these are the numbers to show you. And you don't need spreadsheets anymore. Those are gone. You have everything you need in QuickBooks. Everything you can do. You can track your mileage in QuickBooks. You can track how forecasting a property. Everything you need to do is in QuickBooks. So, like I said, just get these basic steps down, and you'll be on the road of success.
Cut.